it been a few hours, but it feel like days. Only been days, but it feel like months. Gone for a year, only been like one.
Hey guys, I'm back. Thank you for joining me. So today I'm going to do a tape and install using 5 packs of my raw Vietnamese body wave hair. Each pack comes with 20 pieces in it, so we are going to start off by doing just a basic silk press on my client. And make sure whenever you do a tape and install, you want to make sure you're not using anything heavy, anything oily, because the glue and the adhesive will not stick to the hair at all. Even if it does stick in that moment, you will see that later on your client will say, well, I had some tape slip out, this, that, and the third. So like I said, no heavy oils. If you are going to use a leave-in, use a lightweight leave-in and a lightweight heat protectant that does not cause any slippage or anything like that. So I started off, like I said, with the silk press, making sure I get her hair as straight as possible, because this will be in her hair for at least the next 2 months, with proper maintenance and things like that. So I make sure I go in with very thin sections, and I'm making sure that I really get her hair as straight as I possibly can. Even within the blow dry process, you're going to make sure that you're getting the hair as straight as possible, and then you're going to go in with your hot comb and your flat iron. Both of these are, I believe, on not the highest heat, but the second to highest heat. Only because you want to make sure it's as straight as possible. So when we're going to map out how we want her taping to lay, I know that she wanted to do a middle and a side part, but she also wanted to be able to put it in a ponytail. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure you're using a metal rat tail comb, and then you're going to part from one ear to the other, also going down the middle to where the apex is. If you don't know where the apex is, it's the highest point on the head. And then you're going to go behind her ears, and you're going to part from behind her ears to the nape of her neck. And you're going to see in a moment where I take my comb and I see if I can see the comb, which I can. You are not supposed to see the comb when you do this. This shows you where the tape would be if you try to put it up in a ponytail. You don't want to see any tapes at all. So see there, I didn't see any of the comb. Now I'm going to pull a little piece up, because I do want to make sure I have enough hair in the midsection to where I can put it up in the ponytail. So that part is absolutely fine. You just want to make sure you're being neat and you're being careful. Haste makes waste, so you don't want to rush through this process, especially if you are a beginner. Any tips that I have for beginners is to really make sure that you're paying attention to this video, because it is very beginner friendly. And I really try to talk you through all of it, because I remember when I started doing tape-ins, this was not the easiest. It looks very easy, but it becomes easier as you go on. So like I said, I went around her back of her head to make sure that I couldn't see any of the comb, and that section that I'm wrapping up right there is where all of my tapes are going to be. You really just want to make sure that you're having fun with this process. You want to make sure that you're being gentle with your client at all times, and just asking them, is this comfortable, especially throughout you putting the tapes in. So here's the process of me putting the tapes in. I know it's a little bit blurry. I don't know why, but I started off by taking one tape off of a pair, and then I basically put it on top of the hair, and then I brought it down, skimmed a little bit of hair off of the tape, and then put my other tape on and sandwiched it. You're going to press it from the inside of the tape, working your way out. Then you're going to take a little bit of heat. You're going to take your flat iron on the absolute lowest setting and just tap lightly, just to make sure that glue adheres. And then I take my hands again, and then I work it in with some more pressure. I pull it up, I pull it down to make sure it's not uncomfortable for her. You're going to make sure that you're not taking the tape all the way up to her scalp. You're going to leave at least a centimeter of hair out, because the more tension that you create, the easier for breakage there is, and you don't want there to be any breakage at all. I'm gonna start in the middle of her hair and then work my way up into a U section. So starting in the middle, then I moved on to the right. So you can either go from the underneath side of where you're going to put the tape and then work to the top like a sandwich effect, or you can do from the top to the bottom. It's really all about comfortability, honestly. For me, it really doesn't matter which one, because I'm going to make sure that I'm using both methods effectively to make sure that I'm not leaving a lot of hair inside. That's the most important thing. It's supposed to be the slightest amount of hair inside of the tapes in between them. This method here, I think I started off with bricklayering, and then in the middle I just left some hair out in between the tapes. She did have a lot of tapes. She asked that she wanted me to do a very full look. Her only request was she wanted to be full, and she wanted to be able to put it in a ponytail, and she wanted to be able to curl it, and that's exactly what she wanted to. When you are doing tape ins for certain clients, this specific style is not recommended for all clients. If you have a client who has, let's say, really oily or greasy scalp, you do not want to do this for them. Maybe suggest I-tips or K-tips, because tape ins, there is that adhesive in the glue. If they have any kind of sebum, which equivalates to being dandruff or any kind of oily scalp, that oil is going to break down the glue, which is going to cause slippage in the hair, which you do not want to happen. So definitely make sure you're having a thorough consult with your client, just to make sure that they understand how to care for it, to come back every 1 to 2 weeks. Not saying that a client who has extremely oily hair cannot receive this service. They can, but the maintenance is going to be way more cost effective. And then also they're just going to have to see you more often. You don't want to rob your clients. You want to make sure they know what they're getting themselves in for. So like I said, maintenance is necessary for this style. A takedown service has to be provided by a licensed cosmetologist or a hair professional, period, because if you try and do this at home, or if your client tries to do it at home, you will experience some sort of breakage, which is not good. I am going to make another video on how to do maintenance and also how to do a takedown with this service. So yeah, so once I get up to where her sides are, you can see that there's a little piece of hair. I am not going to put entire tape in there. I'm going to cut one tape in half, and then I'm going to put it on there. And then I'm going to make a little itty bitty teeny weeny piece. It's half of the tape in. You can measure it out on your own just to see how you would like it. And yeah. So basically I just follow all the way up throughout her head. And then when I got to the front of her head, I made sure, since her edges were very see-through, I made sure to take a good amount of hair out. Here's where you're going to have to play with it a lot just to see what goes where. You're really going to have to eyeball it. So I left her front section out, and then I left her middle part out. I just made sure I did the same thing like I did to the back, and I measured it out, and I just scaled to see what I liked and what I didn't like. So here I'm just going up in a triangular kind of method. That is the roll method that I just did, is where you take the tape and put it on the comb, and then you put it underneath. I guess I don't know how to explain it, but you saw how I did it, and I just rolled my comb down. And then you just want to, like I said, make sure it's comfortable, especially around the edge area, because that's where a lot of stress can be and can cause breakage, and you don't want your client to have any kind of thinning around her edges. So you want to make sure that you're really taking your time around this area, because you definitely will be able to see if there is any sort of tape there. If she tries to put it in a ponytail or anything like that, that's the last thing you want, is for someone to say to your client, girl, I can see something. I can see your tape. Hold on to something in your hair. You don't want that at all. So you're just going to make sure you take your time. My client is absolutely knocked out in the chair. She falls asleep every time I get to her hair. You want to make sure you're being gentle with your client. This is supposed to be a relaxing experience. And that's what you're there for, is to provide relaxation. And when she wakes up, she looks like a whole different person. So yeah, I'm gonna let this play out a little bit and then I'll be back. So many times you hear the theory of, oh, my hair won't curl or my hair doesn't hold a curl because I need to cut layers in it. That's not true 100%. Sometimes the hair can be a little bit heavy, but it also goes to what kind of iron that you're using and also what kind of holding spray you're using. So I went in with my Kenra number 13, the red top. I absolutely love that spray. I didn't use a lot of it, but I used it. And then instead of using a regular curling iron, I went in with my Hot Tools Marcel iron. The bigger the barrel, the bigger the curl. The smaller the barrel, the smaller the curl. The longer the hair, the bigger the barrel. The littler, I guess, the barrel, the shorter the hair. I love this Marcel. If you are not fluent with using Marcels, you should become fluent using Marcels, only because the hair will come out beautifully. I've never curled better curls with any other curler iron or flat iron using weave like I've done with a Marcel. It is the absolute best option for you to use. So yeah, I did cut a little bit of layers in this. I didn't go crazy with it because I knew she was going to wear her hair straight. And personally, I don't like the choppy look on my clients or even in my hair. So definitely try to minimize the amount of layers that you're going to do, because, you know, if you're not going to keep this hair in for very long, like my client, she loves to change her hair. Like when I tell you she changes her hair like she changes her clothes. But I'm very proud of her because she said she was going to keep this for a while. So we're going to see how that goes. But you're definitely going to want to take into consideration how you style it. Only because for tape-ins, it is a long-term hairstyle. So yeah, like I said, I am going to do another video showing you how I maintenance this, and then also how I take it down in the future, just so you guys can see and know what to do and how you can provide this service. I am gonna release an ebook very soon that basically puts you in contact with vendors. It is a vendor list ebook, but it's a little bit deeper than an ebook. It goes into how to connect with vendors, how to find vendors on your own, what outlets to use, how to start a business. It's very in-depth. It's something that I wish I had on my hands at the time when I started. It's perfect for any beginner hairstylist or hairstylist who's already out there but wants to scale their business or even get into this market a little bit more. How to find the perfect wig, how to find the lace, what differences between HD lace and transparent lace, the difference between I-tips, K-tips, and tape-ins. Like, it is very in-depth. I definitely took my time on it. It took me a little over a year to write it, and I'm very proud of it. So yeah, I'm going to be releasing that very, very soon. You can follow me also on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe to my YouTube channel just so you can get a little bit more insight on all of that information going forward. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you were able to learn from it. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe just for a little bit more information. Thank you.